This side of the Voice campaign would have you believe that there is consensus among Aboriginal people about what should be done with our constitution. They'd have you believe that Aboriginal people overwhelmingly support it. It's pretty far from the truth on the ground. I wanted to share with you an example that came to me recently. Now, you might not have heard of Norman Miller and his wife Barbara. He's an Aboriginal pastor who has been working in Cairns and the Cape for decades now, founding the Centre for Peace and Reconciliation some 26 years ago. In 2013, he presented a petition of 5,100 signatures from Indigenous Australians signed onto a giant boomerang to the Speaker of the Parliament. He tells a great story about taking this big boomerang around with him, person by person, and getting them to put their name to the unconventionally shaped petition. Leichhardt MP Warren Entsch presented it to the Parliament. It's important to note that it included all of the mayors of Cape York Aboriginal communities. Now, here's what's interesting about it in the context of the push for the so-called voice. He tells me that the petition asked that there be no race power in the Constitution, that there be no difference between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians in our nation's legal blueprint. And he explains why so well. That when we start to sort people by race, history tells us things don't end well. And that what we really need is equality between all Australians. And that starts with our common humanity rather than our skin-deep differences. I expect most people could get behind an amendment of that kind. But how did we go from an Aboriginal-led push for greater equality and less racial division in 2013 to a proposal to permanently entrench difference in 2023? Well, perhaps the truth is that there's been very little change on the ground in communities on this issue. But the activist and academic elite who are pushing this from our cities have a different perspective and perhaps different interests.